What's the best part of being a dad?
Oh my gosh, what a question. The best part of being a dad. Um, Honestly, it's seeing my kids grow in different experiences and to see the things that bring them joy. And it's you see every phase of their life and the things that bring them joy just evolve a little bit, but the same wonder that they had as a little kid, it's still there. Yeah.
I love seeing that too. It's amazing to see how they grow into their little personalities and to see them learning more and more about the world and to see them learning their different skills. It's really beautiful.
Yes, it is.
There's
Absolutely.
so many magical moments about being a parent. What are some
Mhm.
of the hardest moments of being a dad that we don't talk about enough?
Oh gosh, when they get hurt and the things that they allow into, that they allow into their mindset, um, the doubt, seeing them doubt themselves, and it's really a helpless feeling, especially when they're hurting because of those things, and there's so little you can do, because to repair the things that they allow to hurt them and the effects of doubt. There's so little you can do. All you can do is encourage, right? But that may or may not be helpful. It's really a matter of how resilient they're going to choose to be in that moment.
What are some ways that we can unintentionally sow more doubt into our kids?
Ways we can unintentionally what?
Sow doubt into our
So
kids.
doubt, yeah. Um, Expressing our own insecurities.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that in a lot of ways, seeing my kids, seeing me grow frustrated from some things, and just seeing how I let something get the best of my, I don't want to say integrity, but I guess my fortitude in a
Mm.
moment, where I would compromise, my steadiness and,
Yeah.
and allowing them to see that, on one side of that coin. It's a necessity because we can always go back to that moment and say, "Hey, you know what? I got that all wrong." And you need to see me admit that I was wrong. And that's a great moment of vulnerability. But at the same time, it almost gives them permission to allow things to chip away at their resolve as well. Yeah.
I was listening to a little clip of something that you said in a podcast episode on your podcast. You
Okay.
were talking to a guest and you were talking about the importance that coaches play in sports and how
Hmm.
what they say to the kids really matters. And then
Yes.
you mentioned something about the role that we play as parents and what we say to our kids really matters. When
Hmm.
they're down a few points, how are we responding? Are we telling them that they can do it, that they can't do it? Are we frustrated? I would love for you to expound a little bit more on that because I was fascinated by that.
Oh my gosh, what a great question because this just happened with me and one of my daughters in the last 24 hours. So what timing? Perfect timing, if you will, Sandra. So my daughter had a powerlifting meet this weekend, and she's had a little injury that's been hindering her performance lately. And then the meet was it was at our school, and so a lot of people that she knew were there, and the judges were being pretty strict. And so, you take these things and you start to stack them on top of one another, and all of a sudden you've got performance anxiety.
Hmm.
And so she got a red light, which I don't know how familiar anyone listening to the show is with powerlifting, but you get three lights, and if two are white and one is red, then the lift is still good, but it's like, uh-oh, I'm being watched pretty closely. And so she got one red, so the lift was good, but it was a weight that she'd done just numerous times, in our garage gym and even in warm-ups yesterday morning. And so she comes to me and her face is red and she just has this glare in her eyes. I'm like, oh no, I know what that look is. And so I made an off-color comment like, you didn't listen to me in warm up. I told you, to hit your depth. And then I saw this look on her face. I was like, okay, this is not the time for me to browbeat her, with coaching. This is a moment I need to lean into how she's feeling. So I
Mm,
just pulled her aside and I said, okay, tell me really what's going on. This is not about just getting a red light. What is this? And she's like, I am have so much anxiety right now. I'm just so nervous. And I think nervous was an understatement. I think she was literally scared, shaking a little bit. I'm like,
mm,
okay, tell me what things are making you anxious. The judges, my leg, the crowd, et cetera, et cetera. So, okay, first, I want you to literally, we practice box breathing often. So I want you to just sit here in this moment, close your eyes, and I just want you to breathe and focus on nothing but the breath, right? And so we're grounding. Okay. And so she does that, right? And she gets some of this anxiety calmed down, her central nervous system calmed down. So, okay, let's focus. You've been in the garage. You've done this movement and this weight how many thousands of times, right?
mhm,
So let's go back to that. It's just you and this bar and this weight. That's it. Nothing else matters. Everything is white noise. So what can we start chipping away at? You're allowing doubt to chip away at your confidence and ability. How can we chip away at anxiety? Let's focus on joy. What's going to bring you joy today? Being a good teammate, encouraging other people, just focusing on what I can do. Can you control how many people are here? No. Can you control the judges? No. What can you control? Me and the bar. Ah, perfect. Okay. So just go do those things. Go and have fun with your teammates for right now. You don't have to lift again for maybe another 5 minutes. So you got 5 minutes to chip away at the anxiety instead of the other way around. Right.
mm.
And so she comes back out. And so skip to the ending. She broke 4 state records yesterday. Bench press, deadlift, and squat, and then for the total, she broke the total as well. And she was in a brand new weight class. She had to move up to a weight class and compete against heavier lifters, and she still broke all those records. So, the day started out,
Kind of
but
shaky. That's
yeah,
amazing. And then you were
yeah,
able to
yeah,
coach her
just
through
sit there.
that by really being
Yeah,
there for her. Congratulations to
yeah.
her. That's a huge
Oh, well,
accomplishment.
thank you. Yeah, but what did I do? Nothing. I just reminded her of who she really is.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And even if she didn't get that outcome, like that's an amazing outcome. But even if she didn't get
Mhm.
that outcome, that's still an amazing accomplishment to be able to go and do all of that in front of a huge
Yeah.
crowd. And then it's an
Hmm.
amazing accomplishment, even if you can't do it in front of a crowd, that you're training to do something like that, that you've gotten your
Right.
body to be that strong. So I
Yeah.
want to go back into that moment because I think parents, most of us are really well intentioned. And the hardest thing
Mm-hmm.
to see, like you said, is your child being in pain. And so when your child does something that you've already kind of told them, hey, do this for a better outcome, or don't do this because you're not
Hmm.
going to get a good
Hmm.
outcome, it is very hard to not say,
Absolutely.
dude, but I told you not to do this, or I told you to do this. Come on.
Yeah.
And in that moment, like you said, it's not what they need at all. And we're trying to rescue them from something in that moment.
Right.
What do you
Oh, my
think that
word.
we can do or say to ourselves to really allow ourselves to be there for our child and listen to what they actually need, not saying something that's to make us feel better. Like I
Mhm.
prevented this. I did a good job. I promise. I told them not to do this or I told them to do this. It's not
Yeah.
me. It's not me.
Yeah. Well, the word you used there was so spot on. We want to rescue them,
Mm,
but that's absolutely what we don't need to do. And maybe that's what's the old term, like tough love or
mm,
the school of hard knocks, if thinking, if you will, but maybe they don't need rescuing. Maybe we need to let them learn the lesson that the situation has for them, you know. No, no learning is going to occur on their part if we just swoop in and solve the issue for them, right? And so is that making them better? And so that's the question I would pose to myself is, am I allowing them to learn? Am I letting them get better? That's
mm,
preparing them for adulthood, you know? I'm not going to be able when they're in their 30s and I'm, what would I be, in my 70s, to just swoop in and rescue them financially, physically, or any other sort of way. So I have to allow them to learn those lessons. And to find the resolve that they're going to have later right now. It's like building. I'll use the. Have you ever heard the old anecdote about the bricklayers, the three
No, tell
bricklayers?
me about it.
Okay, love it. Oh, I love telling this story. So, um, post World War One, there's an architect, Christopher Wren. He's making his way around London, and there's just devastation everywhere. And he comes across these three bricklayers all working on the same structure. And he asks one, "Hey, what are you doing?" He says, "I'm collecting a wage." Okay. How much are you making? I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And he just spends time complaining. He goes to the second bricklayer. "Hey, what are you doing?" "I'm building a wall." Okay. Goes to the third bricklayer. He says, "Hey, what are you working on?" He says, "I'm building a cathedral to the Almighty."
Mm,
So it's all about purpose. What is the purpose in what we're building and what we're doing? I'm not helping her build anything if I just sit around and complain about it or swoop in and save her. But if I let her lean into the situation and find her own resolve on the other side of it, whether she won the competition, lost the competition, even if we change the context, it doesn't matter.
mm.
I'm allowing her to experience it, and she's building who she's going to be later. They, all my kids, but yeah.
That takes such a level of awareness and discipline and commitment.
Mhm, mhm.
What would you say are three steps, step one, two, three, to be able to foster that kind of resiliency in our parenting style?
Um, to raise who they're going to be in 30 years. So first you have to have that mindset. I'm not just I'm not just keeping this being in front of me alive. I'm raising an adult that's got to be a
Mm,
better person in 30 years, you know. So it starts with our mindset. That would be step one. Step two is I love your word, rescue. Let's come to the realization that it is not for me to rescue them. That is not my job. That's not parenting, you
mhm.
know. And then three, walk with them through whatever they're going through. Yeah, I would.
So
Yeah.
for
So go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I love that. For people who are listening to that and are like, okay, give me some scripts. What were
Hmm.
some things that they can say in the moment when their child is going through a hard time and they're like, okay, I want to raise this person for the future, not for right now. And I don't want to rescue them because then I'm just enabling basically someone who isn't capable of doing things on their own.
Hmm.
And we want this to be age appropriate, like if a 2-year-old is on the stove,
Yeah.
definitely rescue them.
Yeah. Oh,
But
for
we want
sure.
this to be age appropriate.
Mhm.
Um, what would be something that they can say to their child to help
That's
them
such a
along?
good question. Oh my gosh. I'm so I don't want to say passionate, but I am so motivated to help my kids and in my coaching. This is where coaching and parenting are really parallel. So I'm very motivated to help both my kids and those that I coach find self-awareness. And so
Mm,
self-awareness, especially with the little ones, can be found in just what emotions are you feeling right now. I have daughters, they're twins, they're 18, and then I have a little boy who's 11. So pretty big gap there. And so I get to see both ends of this spectrum. And so the one I'm dealing with now, the 11-year-old, is when he's hurt by something, or if he's made a mistake, say it's at school, then we can talk, through the context of those things. And for me, I always want to get to the root, the very bare bones of whatever the situation may be. And for me, that step in self-awareness and to help that grow is what emotions are you feeling right now?
mm,
Let's narrow it down. Like, really, how does this make you feel? And so let's target emotions, right? And so, from there, then you can begin to help them see these kinds of things, these occurrences, whatever situation it might be, whatever pain it might be, that it's really the context can be irrelevant at that point, and you start to focus on the trigger
mm,
for the emotion that they're feeling, and then you help them manage that emotion. Are you angry? Okay, why? What is it that's making you angry? Do you feel like there's some sort of inequality, injustice, or are you angry, frustrated with yourself?
mm,
Did you react rather than What's the word I always use other than respond?
Mm,
Yeah. Did you react or respond? Because there's a big difference. Responding, you lean into your self-awareness a little bit and you make a choice. Reacting is just a knee-jerk thing. Yeah.
hmm
So that's, I always like to go back to the emotions that they're feeling and how we can see what's triggering those emotions and how we can manage those emotions. Because if you can begin to manage or help them manage their emotions, then they can find ways to reset and to get past whatever bad choice they might be thinking about making and really look at their options. How do I appropriately respond to whatever? Now you bring the context back in, right? Okay, now how do I respond? Yeah.
a big barrier to that kind of parenting where you are self-aware of you and your child is emotional reactivity. One of the
Hmm.
hardest things is being with children who their frontal lobe is not even fully developed yet. They
Right.
have very dysregulated nervous systems. Of course, they haven't learned how. This is very normal. This is common. It's what needs to happen right now. They haven't gotten to learn that yet. And it's not to bring your own emotional reactivity to it. And that is
Hmm.
compounded when you grew up in a home where you didn't get to see healthy behaviors modeled and where you got to see dysregulated nervous systems. You'd never learned how to regulate yourself. So, what are
Hmm.
some techniques that you would give to parents where they are feeling dysregulated and they didn't learn that somewhere else, where those needs were missed in their home? How could they give that to their children now?
Yeah, something that we do that's really simple, and this sounds silly, but we sit down, like, okay, let's actually go and sit down and talk about this. And so if that is the agreement that you have when we're starting to get emotional, whether it be an argument with them or they're having trouble regulating, okay, I can see you're really upset. If we stand here face to face in this moment of conflict, strife, whatever word you want to insert there, emotion, or you said an emotive reaction. We got to get out of that. We got to remove ourselves from that immediate instant, and I'll take them and, hey, let's go sit down. And immediately when you sit down and you start to relax part of your body, you can relax part of your nervous system.
Mm.
And so then we bring back in breathing. So if my son is really upset and he is one of those when he's really upset, he's one of those, you know, one of those cryers that are like, like the hyperventilating
Yes,
crier.
that's so sad. Or when they cry and it's silent crying because it hurts
Yes,
so
yes,
much. Like
because
that's
they
so
can't,
sad.
it's so intense that they can't even get a breath out. So that's him. And I'll just hold him by the hand or just sit right there with him, like, hey, I'm right here. Get all of that out. I won't say a word
Mm,
and just allow him to have that while we're sitting. And when he gets all of that out, then I'll ask, are you ready to talk? And if he's still silent, okay, when you're ready to talk, just give me a sign, a nod,
mm,
something that you're ready to start talking our way through this. And so, yeah, it starts with the physical response. Just get out of wherever you are when those two emotions, you frustrated, them upset, begin to collide. Remove yourself from it completely. Sit down, relax your nervous system. And this is something I use in coaching all the time, you can actually change the hormonal cascade in your brain if you react or respond physically in a positive manner.
hmm
And so holding their hand. Yesterday it was, I put my hand out and let her put her hand in mine.
Oh.
Like, okay, right here, making positive physical contact. And we both begin to come down here, right? And so, yeah, I remove myself and make a physical contact, and then let them process that emotion if they're really upset. Telling telling them, would you just stop crying? Well, that's not helping. It's just not helping. And you send the wrong message, right? Like it's not okay to cry. I don't understand. Now I'm more confused. You know, do we want them to
I
stop crying? Yes, but because it's frustrating and like, okay, I got to get back to what
it's
I'm
like,
doing, right?
dude, I got 30 things to do. Get
Yeah.
on with this, please. Move it along. That's actually one of the coolest things, though, that we can retrain our brains and ourselves how to respond, and we're
Mhm,
training them at the same
mhm,
time. And
mhm.
I had
Yes.
my sister-in-law tell me, I I think you have one of those gifts of being a really loving and kind and patient person. And I said, no, that's not one of my gifts. That's not who I am at all. That's me in my head saying, be loving, be kind, be kind.
It's
That's not
it's
this natural thing I was born with.
it's an
It's me.
affirmation I have to
Yeah,
cycle through.
it's me constantly telling myself,
Yeah.
hey, you don't want generational trauma here. You want to teach them the right
Break the cycle, break the cycle.
thing. Tell your son that it's good. You're hearing he's frustrated. It's okay to cry. But like, do I want to be like that? No, like that's a lot of work. Like,
Mm,
so
mhm.
it's just so funny to hear to have her tell me like, and you have this. I'm like, no, I do not have that gift. Like that is something I'm like
This,
voicing in my head, so I
right.
can
This is
actually help my
work.
son.
Yeah.
So I love that you can retrain yourself and then your child
Mhm.
responds to it differently. Today, my son was very upset. We were at church and he loves it until he's like, okay, I've had enough of being quiet. You can only
Right.
ask a little boy to be quiet and sit still
Very
for so
true.
long. So at one
Hmm.
point, I take him outside so we can start walking for a little bit.
Mm.
Starts playing on the piano and he's like banging away. And I'm like, okay, love your stuff, but this is disruptive to everybody else. So I pick him up and take him into the hallway, and then he's upset. So then he's crying, and now he's on the ground and he's crying. And I was standing up and I said, I
Mhm.
know this is very hard. It's so hard to be young. And what I love to do when he gets like that is sit down. And I find what it does is it makes him feel less alone in what he's doing.
Mhm.
Depending on the
Yeah, spot
context, I
on.
will also like lie down and kind of like do what he's doing. I wasn't going to do that in a
Mhm.
dress today, but I
Yeah,
did
right.
sit down. I did sit down next to him. And immediately he just kind of looked over at me and cried for maybe 5 more seconds and then just looked at me and I said, it's okay to be frustrated.
Mhm.
It's really hard to be young. It's okay. I'm here. And then he just looked at me and grabbed my hand and then had me get up and then we went back to walking.
Oh,
And it's
nice.
moments like that for me that are rewarding to let me
Mhm.
know all the annoying, be kind, be loving when I don't feel like it is actually working.
Yeah,
And
it's what it needs.
a big need for that is because I'm trying to think long term. I want him to be happy.
Mhm.
I don't want his future family to look at me and my husband and be like, bro, like, what did you do? Like, you met this up
This is your
so
fault.
badly. I want them to be like, thank you. Like, thank you for giving us this
Mm.
person that's actually helping us out in life. What are some needs that you think were really met in your childhood that you want to pass on? And what were some that were missed that you are wanting to meet now?
Um, some that were met were things that made me emotionally and physically tough.
Mm.
Yeah. Now, whether those things were on purpose or not is that's neither here nor there, I guess, but it had the desired effect. Um, but I think my parents did a really good job of not hovering. You
Mm.
know, if I made stupid choices, they let me fall on my face. And they they were present for things that I did, but they allowed that to be mine. You know, like the sports that I played, they allowed that to be mine. And if I wasn't getting what I wanted from it, then the question was always, well, do you want to still do it? Yes. Okay. Then just do it. You
Mm.
know, there's not a lot more left to say about it. It's no one else's fault. Are are you doing your part? I feel like I am. Okay, well, then, it's up to you. And so they never tried to, have a word with the coach or anything like that when it came to playing time or whatever other variables, parents feel nowadays that they have to go and negotiate, if you will.
Mhm.
They allowed that to be mine. And so I really appreciated that because I really felt ownership of whether for good or for bad. I felt ownership of my experience completely. Um, as far as things that were missed, probably encouragement.
Mm.
There were times where I just needed a little encouragement. If so, I tried to play college football, and I know, that's was I still a child? Yeah, I mean, especially guys, we're children until we're well into our 40s, but uh, maybe some even longer. But uh, I tried to play college football, and I was hundreds of miles away from home, and knew no one, and I just needed a little encouragement to keep going. I did, I managed, but it was really tough, and so I really think back to that moment because that was when I felt like I needed encouragement the most. And if I'm honest and go back and think throughout my high school and junior high experiences, and even into middle school, uh, as far as my academic efforts and athletic efforts as well. And there just wasn't a lot of encouragement. I know my parents loved me, but they weren't oh, go baby. They weren't, that was just not, that didn't exist. Yeah. So just a little positive encouragement probably is what I was missing.
And is that something you would have liked? Like, what kind of things would you have liked to hear?
Um, I think I would have liked to have had them ask me more questions,
Mm.
and really find out what about it brought me joy. What about my experiences brought me joy, whether they were athletic or not? You know, yeah, what really brought me joy, and because they weren't very curious. Yeah. So just a little curiosity. I try with my kids to every day, and some days I miss the mark, like we all do. And to ask them, hey, what made you smile today? What made you laugh today? What was the
Mhm.
most enjoyable part of your day that has nothing to do with sports or school or. And so, yeah, I try to stay more curious with my own kids. And so like I said, my parents love me, but I think I learned a lot from my parents as far as just the other things to do, not repeating.
It
Yeah.
was such a different time because
Mm,
now
that's so
we
true.
know that it's important to get to know your child
Hmm,
because if you
hmm.
know them, then they feel seen and they feel loved. It's a
Right.
beautiful thing to be known, seen, and
Yeah.
loved.
Yeah.
Back in that time, it wasn't so much that in parenting, it was more children should be seen and not heard, be obedient.
Hmm.
We're not fostering curiosity and independence. And good, you're questioning the system. You're so intelligent. You might be an
Right.
entrepreneur. No, it was
Yeah.
like, what are you doing? This is what we do. Stay in this box. Don't be a nuisance.
Don't be a nuisance. This should have been a t-shirt in the 80s and 90s.
That's funny
Oh
that
my
you say
goodness.
that. Every time today in Sunday school, I was teaching my class, and I said, we were talking about how to run away from wickedness. We're talking about
Ooh.
Lot's wife and looking back, and they had to flee the
Ooh.
wickedness and all that stuff.
Hmm.
And we were role playing a few scenarios in this present day and age, how we would do it if we're very confident or we're not feeling very confident. What are some things we could say? And one of the girls in the class said, "Goodbye forever." And I was like, I love that. That needs to be on a t-shirt.
Yeah,
Goodbye
right.
forever.
Yeah, and now, we have the stickers and the t-shirts that are like soccer mom or my child
Yeah.
is an honor roll student at, the third leading elementary school in the state or whatever. Yeah, but when we were growing up, it was stop being a nuisance. Bye.
Yeah, seriously. Like, I'm tired. Go away. Go to your
Yeah,
room.
right. You want to take a nap, go outside and play. Don't come back to the dark. That was the bumper sticker.
I think there were probably a lot of needs that were missed in past generations.
Yeah,
And I
probably.
love that collectively we all seem to be trying to remedy that, which I think is such a beautiful thing. It's
Mhm.
a hard thing, especially if you didn't grow up with certain things that you now have
Mhm.
to do
Mhm.
and emulate. It's hard, and you need a lot of
Absolutely.
support. What kind of barriers do you think that dads specifically face?
The stigmas, that has to be one. Stigmas,
Mm-hmm.
that we have to raise our boys, especially, to be hard,
Mm-hmm.
and to not feel emotion, not necessarily feel, but not to exude too much emotion because it looks weak, So, yeah, stigmas, that's got to be a big barrier, that is really tough for guys to get past, because it can be really confusing
Mm-hmm.
for men to try and demonstrate that one in healthy ways that don't look weak,
Mm-hmm.
because we do. I mean, it is biblical to raise strong men if you are a man, but it's so easy to point to Jesus, though, when we need an example. Like, hey, how can I get this right? Oh, yeah, there's just a zillion scriptures, to get this. So I think that's one big one. Um, I'll tell you, anymore, it's outside influence.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed this with my older kids, and they begin to ask questions like, how do I know that this is the truth?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's very difficult to navigate. And I think for me, the way I responded to that was, you've spent 18 years of your life establishing who you are and searching for truth. Don't let something you've heard for 5 minutes crack your foundation.
Mm-hmm.
If you know who you are, and even if you have questions, go find answers, but don't allow things to infiltrate who you are just because it's brand new and has a shiny sticker on it. So yeah, outside influence and stigmas, and then honestly, ego. This is something I let go of a long time ago. As a coach, my daughters both played soccer when they were about 8 years old, and then they decided it wasn't fun. And so I was at an impasse, really. Do I make them play because I know it will be better for them? Or
Mm-hmm.
do I allow them the freedom to choose now what are some things they want to learn? You know? And so I had to take my ego and put it over here, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm a coach and I've found a lot of success in that, you know. Can I be okay with allowing them the freedom to figure out what they enjoy and what brings them happiness and where their talents lie? And so, in doing that, honestly, there were some parts of me that, and looking back now, that I'm like, I wish I would have just encouraged them to be a little more curious about what they liked athletically, rather than to just wholesale go, yeah, that's fine. You could quit soccer, that's fine. Um, but at the same time, they both really found their interests,
Mm-hmm.
and um, one of them returned to soccer and lifting. The other enjoys lifting, but just more for fitness. But what she did was hone talents that are completely separate from her sister, and even talents that I don't possess. And she is so very gifted in those things. And so I'm glad, I look back on it now and go, wow, I'm so glad that I gave them that freedom, but, and here's why I say ego. There's that side of it. And listen, this, for anybody listening to this, they're going to think, oh, wow, this guy never gets it. Oh, no, no, I got so many things wrong today. I don't even know what to do. But every once in a while, I hit a bullseye. And so I've seen parents so many times, year in and year out, as a coach, I've seen parents drive their kid to absolute insanity
Mm-hmm.
by pushing them because their ego won't let the the chase of accomplishment just be.
Mm-hmm.
They won't let their kid be happy with what they've accomplished thus far and go, okay, I can put this down now. And
Mhm.
they just keep driving and keep driving and keep driving. And it becomes a wedge between the two. I've seen this so just too many times, really, and seen homes absolutely split down the middle. So yeah, to summarize all of that, stigmas and egos, and what was the other thing I said?
Stigmas, egos. I don't know. There was something. I've been so mesmerized. It's hard to remember.
It'll come to me. This is going to be one of those you have to clean up.
What I do want to comment on is how absolutely proud you looked when you said she has skills that have like nothing to do with you that you don't even have. And I think that's such a beautiful thing to see
Mm,
because it goes back to ego. I wonder if a lot of the parents that are chasing their kids and nothing that they do is enough in sports is because they're
mm,
trying to rewrite their own stories and fulfill their own accomplishments. They never got to do this, or they didn't go to college football or go pro like they could have, so now they're pushing their kids to do that so that they don't live an unfulfilled story.
mhm,
Or if it's just fear of not being good enough, or if it's a scarcity mindset. Like there's so many reasons, but it's so sad to see kids be pressured with the weight of things that their parents didn't achieve or things that
mm,
their parents aren't happy about in themselves that now they have to force their children to
yeah,
do better than they did.
mhm. Yeah, it's heartbreaking, really, to see one, that's the environment I see it, right, is coaching. But it's heartbreaking to see and even hear their parents from the stands just berating them
Mhm.
and egging them on. And then I have to bring them off because they're in absolute tears. And they're like, can you please not put me back in so that my parents will stop
Aren't
screaming?
judging, aren't
Yeah,
judging them
so
and
sorry.
embarrassing them in front of everybody.
Right, right, 1,000%. Yeah. So it is, and why? We have to really, I love asking hard questions of myself and others, but really of myself. And so, we really have to ask ourselves why. What's the purpose in that? What is our child going to gain? In situations like that. Are they going to get a scholarship because I yell louder? That's not a prerequisite that any college recruiter is going to look at. It's actually
Hmm.
going to turn people off, And so I try and deliver the narrative to the sports parents that I work with that when your child is being recruited, so are you.
Hmm.
Yeah. Just to help with that mindset, so that they're a little more aware of their presence in that environment for their kid.
I love that awareness because their presence, like even though that moment only lasts like an hour or maybe it's 5 minutes in an hour, the
Hmm.
things that they say haunt those kids for a long time. And they
Absolutely.
become that voice in the child's head, critiquing them or encouraging them. It's
Yep.
either a great voice that says, hey, you can do this, you can do hard things, you're resilient. Anybody would have
Hmm.
dropped the ball. Now we know better, let's do better. Or why did you drop the ball? Like you should have known how to do that. We were practicing
Hmm.
for hours. You didn't practice hard enough. You're not good enough. Like
Right.
it's either crippling or it's extremely helpful. And
Hmm.
I love that now we're in an era where we're learning the impact of all of this that it has on our brains and our minds and our
Mm,
hearts so
a
that we
thousand
can do a
percent.
lot better.
Yeah.
What are some patterns you've noticed in your work of some misconceptions both men and women have about the importance of the role of a dad in a home or the husband?
Mm. So I brought in a sports psychologist to work with my team and the parents. And I love that you asked this question because I had her just deliver some more of the solidified science part of what I was trying to get our parents and players to buy into.
Hmm.
And in doing that, uh, we started that initiative. At the end of the year, I asked parents for their feedback. How did this not just affect your behavior? How did this affect your relationship with your daughter? And honestly, it allowed one dad spoke up God bless him, love it. He was so vulnerable and open in this moment. And he and his daughter both started to get emotional. And
Oh.
he said, I didn't realize that what I was saying was eating away her confidence until she told me. But she felt emboldened to voice that because of the things that we'd been talking about. She knew what that was doing to her. And so she chose to let him in on that, right? And to be a part of that information. And now that he'd seen it and heard it from her, he could accept that. There was no reasoning his way out of that. Yes, I really was damaging my daughter's performance.
Mhm.
Yeah. That was so, I think that was really eye-opening for a lot of other parents, dads and moms alike, to see and hear how, that there was that strife, but once they found how he could best support her and he began to change, how not just her performance got better, but their relationship got better.
That's so
Yeah.
beautiful. What do
Mhm.
you think has been the most surprising thing about seeing yourself as a dad? What's something that surprised you the most that you've learned about yourself?
Oh my goodness. The most surprising thing I've learned about myself, uh, that I am still a child at heart. No matter how serious I try to be for my team or work or my business, where I try and encourage and empower leaders, I'm still just when I'm with my kids, I am so silly,
Mm.
and I try to hang on to that just so I want to share that wonder with them, and the joy of a silly moment. And so, yeah, I mean, if we go to the beach or a museum or even just having a Nerf gun battle in the house, just I didn't know that my childhood, to be quite honest with you, it wasn't super. It just wasn't super. There weren't a lot of joyful, playful moments, you
Mm.
know? And so um, I guess I thought, once I became a dad that, okay, well, I guess it's time to be serious about everything now, no more laughing. And so, but yeah, I really am just a kid at heart still, and they bring that out in me.
I think that's such a healthy and empowering thing. Something that I read forever ago was the value of having kids that are really loud, that feel confident and safe enough in their homes to be loud, to be silly, to be goofy. And when I read that, I was like, that makes so much sense. And then, of course, as your kids grow up, you're like, oh my gosh, like, do I really want to support this? Like, the house is chaos.
I
Like,
thought you were going to go grow out of the loud part, but you didn't.
but I was in class today
Yeah.
teaching Sunday school, and the girls were like talking, they were reading the scriptures and like sharing their thoughts on them, and they're very, very quiet when they speak.
Mhm.
And so I said to them, you guys, I really appreciate that you guys are very like reverent. And in church, there are times for that. When you're taking the sacrament, the bread and the water that represents the blood of Christ and his body, that's a great time to be reverent. In class, I want you to be confident to use your voice loudly. I want to hear your thoughts. You have important things to say. So let's reread that again, please, and let's talk like that. And as I was saying that, like my son, he was like, because he was just a little guy. They were like, yes, we need to be as confident as him. He's gonna be an opera singer. And I was like, yes,
Maybe,
that's what we're
maybe
going
channel it.
for. Just more chaos. That's exactly what we want. Um, but there is something beautiful in being playful enough. Like that's something that I'm so grateful for my husband for.
Mm,
Before him, I was very stoic and I was very
mm,
poised and put together. I wasn't goofy at all. I was funny, I was not goofy. I was not silly. Now I'm extremely goofy, very silly, like the noises, the dances, all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
But if you saw me in a business meeting, you would not once ever think I would be making silly noises or going up to my son and husband's face and like smooshing
Yeah.
them like I'm a cat that needs affection. But that's one of the most beautiful gifts that he has given me, the freedom to be silly, to be goofy, and to be playful.
Oh,
And
that's
that's something
awesome.
that I want our children to grow up with, and I want their children to grow up with as well. To have that
Mhm.
freedom to feel safe in their home and to be weird and to be known and not just to be stoic and
Mhm.
responsible and do their duty. I think
Mhm.
that's too much weight for them that I don't want them to carry.
Right. That's so, and it's so difficult to maintain,
Mhm.
right? And where's the joy in that, right? Where's the joy in sharing the wonder of a fun moment? I remember um, being in my early 30s and being a girl dad, and like walking through Disney World, and there's so many people, and you know, do I dance with my daughter in the rain right here? And yeah, absolutely. Because she'll remember that the rest of her life, and so will I, you know, and just having to let go of, sorry, let it go, Disney, let it go. But,
Thank you,
but just
Elsa.
really having to let go, there I go, being silly. So just, let go of the, the stoic me, and the guy that's always like, I got to protect everybody at all times,
Mhm.
you know, just dance in the rain a little bit. Yeah.
It's hard to grow up with that weight, and it's nice to have
Mm.
it off and to be able to have that freedom to be silly and dance in the rain and not be so stressed about all those other things. What
Hmm.
kind of things do you think prevent parents from fully showing up?
From fully showing up. Gosh, fear has got to be one of them. There's so many things to be afraid of now. You can be afraid of letting your guard down because you go out and who knows what's going to happen, right? Or letting your kids experience things, but I think part of showing up is allowing them enough freedom, right? We have to some regard, we have to provide a hedge, you know, to an extent. But showing up is just support and allowing them enough freedom to, like we said earlier, maybe fall on their face or to create more questions about the world. You know,
Mhm.
showing up is supporting them as they search for those things and not giving them the answer, but allowing them to discover it on their own. And we have to provide, it's our duty, right, to provide a hedge to an extent, but we've gone from the term helicopter parent to lawnmower parent to bulldozer parent. What's going to be next? The bomb squad parents who are just run in, absolutely, issue martial law on everything. And so, yeah, we have to give them a degree of freedom to search for answers while at the same time providing a hedge. For me, that's showing up, it's just being a support for whatever, for anything, fill in the blank. Yeah.
For parents that are hesitant or scared to give their kids that freedom to fail or to succeed, to sink or to swim, what words of encouragement would you give them?
Do the hard work early and often. Yeah, I know that doesn't sound too encouraging, but I guess that's the coach in me, right? Is start early with building their integrity, and affirming who your child is to them, right? And helping them find that. Um, because if we don't remind them, then their doubts and outside influences. And that was the thing I misspoke about a second
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
If we don't,
Was
those things
popular
will
for like
creep
five
in.
minutes.
They will definitely creep in, you know? And if they aren't sure of their identity and where it can be found and how solid it really is, then they'll allow cracks in their foundation, to go back to that metaphor.
And so, how do you affirm them and how do you help them build that sure foundation in their identity? Is it telling them things like you're kind, you're brave? Is it finding moments where they can build character, or what does that look like?
Yeah, it's a little bit of all of those things, but again, I like to use questions so that they can make that realization themselves. It's if I just walk around all the time going, "Oh, you're so kind, and you're so brave." Well, is that helping them be brave? No. Is that helping them be kind? No. Right? I mean, it's just like throwing the cat a treat. It's not teaching it to eat, and to find
I'm
food.
dead.
It's it's just it's lip service, and so rather than just telling them, if they when they do doubt themselves, kind of like my daughter with the powerlifting tournament, like we had to go back to, hey, why are you here? To break records. Okay, then let's freaking break some records. Can you do that? Yes. Have you done this weight a bajillion times in the garage at home? Yeah. Okay. So what's stopping you? I mean, really, if they see that what's in them is stronger than what's outside of them trying to creep in, then it becomes easy to dispel those things, right? And with her twin, outside of the powerlifting and sport realm, it's whenever she begins to express doubt about the degree program she's seeking when she goes to college next year. I just asked her like, "Hey, didn't you have some poetry published?" Yeah. Oh, and what's your grade point again? Oh, and you're on the student leadership team for your school newspaper, right? And magazine? Yeah. Oh, so why do you doubt yourself again? Right? And it's just like reminders of like, hey, what have you done? Really, where have you come from? And what have you accomplished? And who are you really? The you that did those things isn't going to just disappear magically once you put on a college t-shirt or whatever it may be and step on campus, right? And so, yeah, like, where is this doubt coming from? And so I hate, I won't say I hate, because I do feel like it's our job to encourage them, right? But if it's just lip service and it's not really reminding them of what they've done to become who they
Mhm.
are, then it's just not as empowering. It's a little bit encouraging, sure, but it's not empowering.
Because you want them to figure it out themselves. That's why you're asking them the
1,000%.
questions.
There
So
you
they can
go.
testify of it themselves. So it's not just your testimony that they're awesome. You want
That's
them to
right.
have their own.
Oh, what perfect words. Yeah, for them to testify and let it be their testimony. Spot on. Yep.
I also love that you're in this new league, like sassy parenting. So why are you worried about this?
Sassy, sassy parenting. You need to coin that one. That's going to be the new t-shirt. Sassy Parenting League. Sassy Parenting League. There it is.
I love that.
Coin it. Yeah, you need to start a school community online. Join the Sassy Parenting League,
Let's have
accepting
that
new
go
members
viral.
now.
That's it. That's a new
It'll go
parenting
viral.
trend. Let's
Absolutely
go.
will.
What would
Uh,
be the smallest step people could take to be a parent that helps give their kids that freedom and foster that resiliency?
the smallest step we can take. You know, as a parent that is deeply rooted in my faith, I'm going to say, and I'm going to give you two answers here, okay? Because I know there are probably some listeners that don't align with our faith, and that's okay. Hopefully I'll pray for you. Hopefully you can find that's the Sassy Parenting League rule number one there. I'll pray for you. Bless your heart.
There's some parents
Um,
that are like, get out of here, Jesus. And we're like, no, we need
right?
Jesus. Bring
Yeah.
him back. Bring him
So
back.
yeah, step one would be to, our my children and our family, our identity is found in who we are in Christ, right? And so it's to solidify that through His Word and the truth, and through prayer and devotionals together. Just hey, what are we really rooted in? Let's dig deep into that. Let's strengthen those roots. And so no matter what comes, you can always return to those roots. Yeah. And so now you can take that and have the same belief system while removing Christianity from it, right? Because regardless of the family and the beliefs that go on inside the four walls of the home, we've all still gone through things
Hmm.
together and overcome things together. We all still, every family has a deeply rooted resilience or family story that we can still go back to. and find who we are. I heard Angela Duckworth on a podcast recently. You familiar with Angela Duckworth, author that wrote Grit? And so, oh yeah, look into Grit, great book. So um, she was speaking on how young people in the United States, but mostly uh, the worldwide, globally, are struggling with mental health.
Mm.
And one of the things that she spoke on as she comes back to grit and the issue of grit was that in their home, her home, literally at the dinner table, they say, we do things the Duckworth way.
Mm.
And I love that because there's so much to that. There's so much substance to that that no one else sees, but that means something to them. And we all have a Castillo way or a Charlesworth way. We can all return to the roots of where what our family is really held firm by. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I would say that would be the easiest step. The most simple step is to affirm those things, remind your children of those things early and often, as much as you can, right? It's in sports that echoes as what are our standards?
Hmm.
Yeah. So just get back to your standards.
Yeah, in companies, it's values. How do we operate? What are our
Exactly.
values? I was
Exactly.
told once to have some sort of mantra of like 3 or 4 words
Mm,
about what your family is. We haven't done
mm,
ours, so this may need to be workshopped. But ours would probably be something like God, Christ, trees, laughter.
mm,
Trees, because my husband's in arboriculture and we love getting out in nature. And laughter, just because that's the gift that he has given me that I want to keep on for our children. Just
mhm, mhm,
that one of my favorite things, one of my dad's favorite things about my husband is that he has this childlike wonder. He's like, I love seeing Jeremiah when he gets so excited about things, just like a little boy. And that's such a beautiful thing to see that I want my kids to have all the time. And so I love that concept of grit. We do things this Charlesworth way. We do things the way, and then boom, boom, boom. What does this mean? What are our values?
Yeah.
What's the little
Yeah.
mantra behind there? What would
Absolutely.
your families be?
Our values.
Yeah, or your mantra. What would be your
Yeah.
way of?
Well, here's a mantra that I use in my team, but it's also something that we abide by in our house, and it's easier, or sorry, it's hard to throw stones when you're
Mhm.
busy washing feet.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah. So, whatever is happening to us, can we complain about it? Sure. Can we be unhappy and complain about people and, whatever work situations might be going on that day? Yes, it'd be super easy to fall into that snare. But who are we serving when we do that?
Mm.
Oh, well, if I was busy serving someone, then I probably wouldn't have time to worry about those negative things,
Hmm.
you know? And so that's something that's big for us is finding ways to serve, whether it's, here lately, it's been with our church. Every one of us in our family, well, save my little boy, he's just there for the donuts. Kidding, kidding, kidding. He loves to sing. He loves to sing. And
We need to
but we
entice
all
those little boys to get there somehow. It's too much for
we
them to
all,
just
yeah,
sit still
right.
for a while.
We all serve the church in some capacity. When they were younger, it was like little community service projects we could do, get them involved in. And now that they're older and can take some bigger responsibilities. So my wife sings, I teach her Sunday school, and I run the audiovisual things for our church. And then our daughters help with the childcare so
Mm.
that the parents can go and be a part of the
Oh, that's
service.
awesome.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that's our big, if you're, it's hard to throw stones when you're busy washing feet, but some of our family values are kindness, grace, faithfulness, kindness. That's a big one. Discipline and honesty. Yeah, those
Wow.
are, we have gotten away from just rotely saying those things. And so now we really just ask, you know, hey, the way you're speaking to your brother, is that kind?
Mm.
Are you expressing that you, sure, I know you're upset. He's driving me crazy too. We're on a 3 hour car ride and, and like, hey, can you fix the Wi-Fi? No, I'm trying to drive, but, can you, is that kind, or, hey, your sister is trying to do homework right now and you're bothering her. Is that kind? Is that discipline? That's really important to her. And so you need to recognize that it's important to her. So it doesn't sound like, hey, on the Castillo list of family values, you've just missed metrics 2 and 3. It doesn't.
Here's your infraction. Please go see HR.
Yeah, right. Please go see HR. That's the uh, that's the Sassy Parenting League workplace code right there.
That's the running joke in my family because my field is HR. So I
Oh,
help
okay,
people with
okay.
that, B2B HR consulting. So a lot of times when my husband does something, I'm like, we will talk about this in your performance review.
Your performance
Or
review.
this is outside of the scope of your contract, sir.
This quarter's
Or if
not
like
looking
I
good for
want to,
you.
yeah. Or if I want to put my cold feet on him, which he finds so annoying when I put it against his warm legs, but it brings
Yeah.
me so much joy. He's like, "Don't do that." I'm like, "That was in the fine print of our marital covenant." So
It
that's on you for not reading
was a
that thoroughly.
contractual agreement, sir. Oh my goodness, that's funny.
I love your saying because it immediately made me think of we can't throw stones if we're too busy washing feet. It made me think of not judging people and how even
Mm,
the greatest person ever, which was Jesus Christ, he spent his time washing his disciples' feet. So
yep.
for me, the way I connected it was we don't have time to judge people and speak badly of them or worry about that because we're too busy serving them. And if we
Hmm.
want to be great people or great leaders, they don't spend their time judging other people or condemning them. They spend their time serving them.
That's right. Spot on. Absolutely. And that can be so difficult, right?
Mhm.
To stay in a constant. Here's the most difficult part of that for me, quite honestly, from being transparent here, is just staying in that heart posture all the time, because you you are running late for work, or you walk into the house and forgot your coffee, or whatever it is, and so the tiny spiral, the snowball starts to roll, and so you try and get back, you try and ground yourself, and so I'll listen to worship music, like, okay, and then you get to work and it's something else, right, and the snowball starts again, right, and it's so difficult to stay in that heart posture. And so I think that's why it's so important to enter any conversation that we go into, whether it's with our children or with other people. It's so important for our kids to see this as well, see us exercise this, and go
Mhm.
into any conversation or environment looking for humanity,
Mhm.
by actively searching out the humanity of the other person that we're dealing with, rather than allowing all these things that just snowball for me to carry into
Yeah.
and dump on them like it's their fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
sometimes
a
that
hard
can be
place.
challenging. Like today before this
Mhm.
podcast, I'm so happy we got to connect on here. This has been
Same.
awesome.
Yes,
Like
it
this has been
has.
absolutely
Absolutely.
awesome. Before the podcast, I was like, I am so tired. Like I just need a
Right.
little nap.
Just
This has been such a busy week. I just need 20 minutes. And then my son like refused to nap with me. Like we got into like the cuddle position. I'm like here feeding him the bottle and the milk. I'm like, dude, just please 20 minutes so that I can go and do this podcast. I can't even think. I had a migraine before this call and it
oh no, I'm so
literally
sorry.
went away just because this has been so fun and so
Praise God for that.
engaging and so connecting. And something that comes to mind too is when we're talking about, not judging other people, I think one of the hardest things is judging ourselves sometimes. How do we talk to ourselves? Because that is
Mm-hmm.
modeling something to our kids as well. I was thinking about
Absolutely.
the way that I went to church today and I felt great because I put on this very cute dress and I had this cute coat on and I put like two braids in my hair. I had not showered for 3 days prior to that because I've been developing this course, this online course to help with conflict transformation and resiliency. And I
Oh,
get
nice.
so caught up in projects. My
Hmm.
brain just gets so caught up in projects. And, when you're also submitting proposals to people and working with clients, like, and I'm doing that remotely. So it's not like anyone's smelling me. And the only time that they were going to be smelling me was the day at church. And as we drove back from church, my thought was, I don't like the kind of care that I've been modeling to my son this
Mm,
week because
mm,
I have not showered in 3 days.
mm,
And I would love to care more about myself and my body to shower for 3 days. And I also miss
mm,
my workout for 3 days in a row because I've just been so busy. And I get so passionate about these projects, but there's other things that I need to be passionate about. So I just really love what you've mentioned. It's given me a lot to think about.
mm. I love that you brought that up. That actually happened with us today. So my wife works for a nonprofit and they have the biggest event of the year coming up. It's a beautiful nonprofit, by the way. It's called Saving Grace. They have two houses and a farm that they bring in women that have aged out of foster care or become homeless. And so they have a gigantic event coming up that's like the fundraisers that will fund most of their year. And so I have a lot of games coming up this week and a big college recruiting showcase that my school is hosting that I'm putting on. And so we both have this plethora of things, right? That we're just constantly on our mind. I caught myself in church today staring at the pastor and I had no idea what he said whatsoever. I couldn't tell you right now. I know it ended with amen, and that's about all I got. All I can give you. And so I sent my wife and daughters a text message that just simply said, "Hey, this is what my week looks like coming up. I will not have time to care for myself.
Mm,
If you see me being quiet with you, it's not you. I just need a minute to sit in quiet and wrap my mind around what happens next. I need you to get A, B, and C done this week without me having to remind you. You know, this is how you can care for me this week. I
mm,
promise when this is over, I will meet the needs that everybody has that are asked of me, but this is what I need just for right now, you
mm,
know? Yeah. So they need to, one, see us be vulnerable enough to ask for help. But two, like you said, to acknowledge like, hey, I can't care for me right now.
mhm.
So I need you to give me the space to care for me when I can. And
Wow.
I even told them, hey, here's what you can do for me this week. Hug me.
Mm,
Come give me a hug and let's get on with what we were doing. Right. And it's just like a check-in. And so, yeah, they do. You're so right. They do. They need to see and hear us express these things and advocate
wow.
for ourselves.
I love that so much. I'm not even sure if you realize the impact of that. I was just thinking, wouldn't it be so amazing if we all just had grown up with that? Dads and moms who told us,
Yeah.
dads and moms who told us, hey, like this is what's going on in my week. If you see me quiet, I'm not mad at you. It's not about you. I need some time. That's
Yeah.
so clear. And the beautiful thing that you're doing for your girls is that you've now set the standard. You've
Mhm.
set the standard so that now if a man like there's this real your dusty ass son if your son dusty son comes along and is not communicating with them and just completely gets withdrawn and shut down and gets angry because they're overwhelmed, your daughter's gonna be like, I don't know what's wrong with this guy because my dad can communicate when he's overwhelmed. So
Right.
bye. Like we can be
Right.
friends. We're not gonna be romantic.
Oh, now you're speaking to my prayer request list. Lately as my daughters have turned 18, my prayer requests for them sound so much different instead of just, God protect them, be with them, support them when I can't be around them. Now it's praying for the boys'
Hmm.
parents that they will marry God, let them breathe life into his faith in
Hmm.
you and his discipline and his faithfulness as a man. Can you anoint his parents to breathe that into him so that that is what my daughter, my grandchildren grow up in? Yeah,
Hmm. That's
yeah,
so beautiful.
I
That's
appreciate
literally
that.
what I pray for. I pray that we're
Mhm.
able to do that for our son so that he can bless his family, like I said. So his
Mhm.
family doesn't come to us and like, wow, you really messed this up. You've made
Nasty
our
parents
life
lead the fail.
unnecessarily difficult. So they're like, hey, thanks. Life with dad is a breeze. It's
No
pretty
problem.
chill.